T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff.
Shaking back! Does that feel good? Yeah.
Welcome, Shake and Bakers, to episode 37 of the Shake and Bake Show with Stevie Fast, Jackson, Lyle Barnett, and did her hair up, devil in the blue dress, devil in the blue dress, devil with the blue dress on, Courtney Enders. Oh, it's not a dress.
Sweatpants on.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Ain't no dress. So.
Man, they would have thought you had on a tennis dress the whole time. You just ruined it already.
We're logged off.
We missed you guys last. Well, we actually didn't miss you. We actually are on schedule with the show. We haven't postponed or canceled. It's been a wild 14 days since we saw you guys. We have an action-packed show tonight. Tonight's show is going to be full of tempers and emotions, and we're going to do our best to give everybody a balanced view of what we got going on.
I started drinking before the show for this one.
Yeah, this is not number one for me either. I had to start doing a little free gaming. Here's Yingling. We're Shake and Bake shows. Fans, give some money.
I have.
What have you guys been up to? So this is what I normally ask you guys. What have you been doing? I saw some of you a few days ago, so I know what you've been doing. But what y'all been up to?
Well, I returned back to the beadlock capital of the world, MacFab Beadlocks, Goldston, North Carolina, where we can do your beadlocks in one day. I've beadlocked the world, tried to since then. For those of you out there who are unaware, I've built several new sets of wheels this week. If you need new wheels and you don't want to wait the 6 weeks that Weld or whoever else tells you to wait on your wheels, give me a call. I got some in stock.
Is that your customer?
Not only do we fix your mangled up shit that you already have, we can sell you new stuff.
That's right. What'd you say, Courtney?
That's like your salesman voice, because your normal voice, then you're like, oh, I can beadlock the world.
Well, I mean, you got to wear different hats as a business owner. I mean, you can't always be this one guy.
Straight to the point, okay?
Right.
If you want fucking wheels, you call me. If you don't.
There it is.
Right. So, like, it's like me wearing hats. Like, I was talking to some fans this weekend at the race, and they said, you're not as big an asshole as what we thought you were. And I was like, the asshole hat is just one of the hats that I wear.
I told him I fake it till I make it. Hey.
Right.
I have told people, you know your role in this sport very well, and you turn it on.
I can be in it.
You turn it
on.
But
I actually have a good heart, and even the people I despise, when they ask me for help, I help them.
Lyle, you had the whole fam bam. I saw a picture of you. I think you were running a MacFab daycare.
Yeah. We had
487 children.
We had 7 kids in the pen this week, and all well behaved. My friends from here in Moore County came, drove the 3.5 hours to Bristol, spent the weekend, came to watch us race, and we had a good time. Melissa's dad drove from Gastonia, got him a little camper, drove up there, got him a camp spot, hung out for the weekend. It was good.
I saw everybody in the MacFab shirts in the grandstands just repping hard.
You didn't see any MacFab hoodies this week because it was hot.
I still don't have one.
It was you didn't need it,
right?
Wyoming.
Yeah, you're wearing like one of them elks that they skin up there or something.
For the love of God,
we're gonna go off on this tangent, but first of all, I want to say thank you to all the fans that brought me bourbon at this race. Many of you brought me bottles of bourbon. Thank you very much. I had some bottles of that during the race. It's very good, and I appreciate it. The Shake and Bake fan base was strong in Bristol.
It is everywhere.
Matt, I'm sending you a picture.
Didn't you text at the beginning of the show?
Yeah, but I shut up.
Matt's busy tonight. He's maintaining his chick.
Well, this is important.
And shout out to my Arabic brother, Obaid Al-Balushi, straight from Dubai. What's up, buddy? We miss you.
Hey, Obaid.
Hey, Obaid. Yeah, I missed y'all this weekend. It was weird. I watched on NHRA TV, which I do like once every 4 years. It was really weird. Really weird.
Jerry Lester.
This is a loaded question, and you'll get very heated opinions on all of this crap, and a lot of people sell blowers and stuff. But if your fuel system is correct, that hat up there is just a mailbox. You can put a mailbox up there that brings air in. Spray bars make big power on the dyno because they lean the engine out because you evaporatively get rid of some fuel. If you've ever watched the fuel and air that come out of a supercharger on a supercharger dyno, you would realize that there's much more smoke and mirrors than meets the eye. But we'll talk about that another deal. What were you saying, Lyle?
That somebody asked what my connection with this car was. So if you didn't see before the season started, I was supposed to drive Leah's Top Fuel car starting at the beginning of this season. And at the end of last year, the man that owns all that shit decided he wanted to drive it. What am I to tell him? So
also he's Tony Stewart, so
still hanging out around there. I obviously spent a lot of time with all of them and became good friends with all of them and still support what they do, even though I'm not driving. But never know what can happen down the road. So
and
I want to address this comment real quick, and then you can,
And you and Leah got your little heat wave deal.
Yeah.
I want to address this question real quick. We'll get it out of the way because I've got more media in my inbox about this than I should have. You guys got to realize that we're all humans, all of us. There's not many people that I know that live and breathe drag racing more than Joe Costello. He's at the racetrack on his off weekends. He does a great job in the booth. He respects all the classes from top to bottom and works hard, and he is a great guy. And if one of us cusses on the mic and people try to get him fired and send a bunch of negative shit to NHRA, pick another sport and go watch that.
It is so hard.
You'll want us to be human, and then some, not shake and bakers now, but then some people raise hell when we're human.
To talk through, I don't think people realize the gift that like him, Jason Galvin, even Jason Logan, Alan Reinhart, to be able to narrate 4 days worth of shit to you guys and be entertaining. The fact that they don't slip up more, it is so hard. Even when I'm doing these chicken shit interviews that I do, I'll be talking, listening to the next person answering me and completely go blank and forget what I'm about to say. Not only say the wrong words. So give the guy a break. He's like the nicest guy ever.
It wasn't like
that guy. They would kick us off of the SEC. Would find us in 1 minute.
I wouldn't be that guy to already be fired. Like, fuck all of you that think we shouldn't cuss on the mic.
That's why they won't hire me. I've tried to get hired there.
It isn't like Joe blatantly said like some racist slur or something, just absolutely just something terrible. But he didn't even mean to. Like, it was just cruising along and he says asshole. Like,
yeah, and Matthew, I wasn't singling you out. I wanted to talk about this, and I'm not saying anything about what your comment was. I just wanted to.
Did you see the video that Joe on his personal page posted today of Bo Butner at the top end after he won? He was like, "Congratulations, Joe, on the most viewed 00 shit show asshole post or something." And Joe said, "I learned a very humbling lesson this weekend. If you not about slipping up, but if you can't laugh at yourself,
you gotta laugh at yourself.
You got a fucking problem." And I thought it was funny.
If you drag race or involved in drag racing and you can't laugh at yourself, you're gonna hang yourself because you're gonna do stupid stuff.
So you may as well have fun.
Right. So Courtney, what have you been up to? I noticed that we didn't see your smiling face at the racing event this week for the 78th race in a row. So what's going on?
Hey, Matt, did you get my picture? Go ahead. Before she even starts talking, hit us with it.
Just let it rip.
Hear me? Oh, baby. The Canadian tuxedos were out and about in Wyoming this weekend. So, Courtney, I've got to know.
Were you auditioning for Yellowstone?
Was this a joke, like how Canadian tuxedos, everybody wearing it, or is that like Canadian proper attire?
No. So what it was first off, we looked great. It's a great photo.
Are you trying to get on Yellowstone?
That's a lot of denim.
No, what's great is okay, so this event, they're obviously Canadian. Spencer's sister, Sydney, had this resort wedding at a ranch in Wyoming. It was exactly like Yellowstone, but we had our own cabins, our own home, like staff, didn't leave, went horseback riding, shot rifles, did all kinds of shit. It was really, really cool. But every night she had a planned event with attire. So one of the nights was really fancy. We went down to the farm in the wine cellar, third largest wine collection in North America. I went in the room. I was dying. It was the most amazing thing ever. But so one of the nights was the denim night, and it was kind of allude to Canadian tuxedos, but everybody wore denim and a couple of the Canadians wore shorts with boots. And I was like, whoa. But everybody bought all these outfits for this event, right? I bought one thing for this. Like I owned everything that I already had for this because I'm a freaking hillbilly, I reckon.
Did you please tell me what you bought for this was that denim outfit?
I want to know that you bought that hat.
I have 5 hats on my wall. I have
Hey, do y'all see that ear sticking up at the bottom of my screen? Like,
Nacho?
we may have the most highly anticipated special guest of the year here.
Yeah.
Hey,
Nitro,
buddy.
The attack dog, Jackson. Nitro Fast Jackson's here live in Thompson.
Sweet boy.
Hey, buddy.
Anyway, owned the hats, owned the boots, owned the fringe dresses I bought. I did buy that denim onesie, but I gotta say, I bought it because my sister owns it. She went to a Miranda Lambert concert or some concert and bought this denim onesie, and it's pretty legit. And I will say I will wear it again. I don't know what the fashion's like there where y'all live, but here in Fort Worth in the Stockyards, that's a Tuesday evening dinner dress. You know what I'm saying?
Do you talk like that up there, or is it do you try to mix it in and sound like they talk?
No, I talk like
when I was in Epping, I tried to get my Boston accent on and talk like Brian Loans. And the waitress looked at me and she said, "What is wrong with you?"
Dude, Erica on stage for number 1 qualifier in Epping. She goes out and, Joe's like, "Hey, how are you?" She's like, "Hey, how are y'all? Thanks for coming." She goes, "Oh, up here. I mean, how are yous guys?" And thought she was going to get a laugh. Fucking not one person laughed. And after we got back on the golf cart, it was her, Aaron Stanfield, and I. And she goes, "Well, my stand-up comedian career's over because that was really awkward. It was absolute crickets." It was so embarrassing.
Oh, bless her soul.
Bless her heart, right?
Bless her heart. Do y'all want to smoke through Epping before we get to Bristol?
We should.
We got time.
Okay, let's start in Epping. Let's smoke through Epping. We had great weather in Epping. Last year we were there. It rained us out. It was terrible. We sat around in the frozen tundra. We had blue skies, sunshine. It was hot as far as the racetrack goes, but it was 75 degrees outside. I thought it was a great event.
It was packed. Absolutely packed.
It was packed.
Weather was awesome. I love small places like that because even at a bigger place, we still would have been packed. But the way that they stack in on that hill up there, on the left side along the wall, and it's the closest on the NHRA tour that the fans are to the racetrack. So it just feels, I don't know, maybe for y'all it's different, but I stand there and absorb it. It feels different. You feel a lot closer to the fans, and those fans are freaking rowdy.
There's a huge Pro Mod fan base there.
They love Dorsey.
Huge. Like when we fired cars up, there'd be like a couple hundred people back there.
And you're way down there by us.
Yeah, I know.
You weren't down there where I was at. I was off in the woods, but it's awesome to race in New Hampshire and have so many cars that we have a parking problem. I mean, it is. To think that we got 23, 24 cars, NHRA Pro Mods in Epping was awesome. I mean, I thought the race was very well run, and I thought it was a good event.
I thought it was too. Had a lot of fun also. I love the fans up there. They just, we have guys that sit in lawn chairs outside of our pits and just wait for warm up. Then they go put their lawn chairs in front of another pit, wait for warm up. And there was a bee swarm. Did y'all see the beehive issue at Josh Hart's pit?
No.
I did not.
Okay, so I'm driving up the main row, pit row, I guess you can call it there. And the fans are just you can see that there's a gap in between, Stevie's favorite word. There's a gap in between the pit and the fans. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? And people are screaming, freaking out. I'm not shitting you. On the corner of their awning, a huge swarm of bees. And then there was probably 10 or 15 feet of bees swarming outside while they were up running on Saturday. In the time it took them to come back, came back, an entire freaking nest of bees. I don't know what they call them. No bee woman was up there, and they had to bring in professional help and get that thing down. It was freaking wild.
They built they start.
If people in the comments, if you guys watched the TV show, because I talked to our buddy Joe Costello right after, I saw him on the golf cart. He's like, "Did you see the bees?" He said, "I just went over to TV," and I'm like, "Bees." Went over to content. I'm like, "Bees." And they showed it on there, and it was just random. And even towards the end of the weekend, Sunday night, TJ and I are walking back after the winner's circle, and his guys are standing out there, and you could still see like bees just lingering in the air.
I missed the whole bee thing. Sorry, with the promo pits were not
the
bee.
first time I've heard
I
of
wouldn't
it.
have seen it had I not been just right place, right time, trying to get through that crazy crowd. But
John Holt, I can tell you, not a lot. It's normally a 6 to 7 a.m. to midnight to 2 a.m. and then sleep 4 hours and get back at it.
and if Lyle Barnett calls you from the hotel bar and wants to have a beer, there's even less.
It's even less time than that.
What can I say?
Every night. Courtney. Courtney. We texted Stevie that one night. It took him 4 hours to text back.
Y'all called and texted me at 1 a.m. I was asleep. I'm old. It was like the only night I went to bed early. And I know when I wake up and I've got a call from you that there was fun that got had and I missed out.
We did call him.
I know that I missed out on some smoky fun.
We did call you. But yeah, so let's talk about like racing.
Okay, racing. So what all happened in Epping? Let's roll down.
Can we start with Promod?
Yeah.
Lyle, go ahead. Give your journey.
It didn't go well for me.
Didn't go well for Lyle.
Very unfortunate about Chip King too. One of the sexiest cars in the race in the class. We have done a really good job of not annihilating cars this year. ProMod normally by this year we've wiped out 6 or 7, 8 race cars. We've done pretty good. Chip got in some fuel. I think they had a fuel leak or a line come apart of some sort. The crash wasn't bad. It looked spectacular, but I don't think it was that bad on the car. But other than that, no real mishaps. It was some good racing.
Mason Wright, first time winner.
Mason Wright,
Absolutely.
anything winner.
Yep.
Like not top sportsman, not junior dragster, not nothing. First time winner. That was really, really cool to see. And I know Justin Elks has been feeling like he's been tinkering on something for a minute. We talked about you in the Winner's Circle interview. Lyle Richard brought it up and kind of starting the success for Elite. But that was my Elite hat aside. That was cool to see for Mason and his family.
It was good to see Mason and Justin Elks. They've been working on that combo for a while. Good to see them run good, and they were dominant when they went out and went that 73 in the hot session. That my jaw fell out. Like
They were consistent. They were getting down the racetrack.
I think we went 579 in that session. I thought that was a decent run, and I think they went 573 in the same session. And I'm like, holy shit! It was a good run, a good weekend for them. Sydney making it to the semis was good. I felt like we ran pretty well there, and there was a bunch of fast runs. To be on 120 and up degree track for most of the runs, I was surprised how fast the field was.
Yeah, no, it was good. And then everybody's favorite. I don't know where y'all were when Funny Car was going on. I know I'm skipping around here, but we were right behind him. And that place absolutely fucking lit up when John Force won. Yeah. If you want to tell me that John Force is not still the star of all stars, close your mouth and listen.
Just listen to when he comes down and wins. Like the place goes crazy.
I didn't even know who was running because we were just, getting Erica's shit ready. And I heard the crowd roar and I'm like, well, John Force.
Yeah. I don't know which one of our guys gave you ice, but if we see a fan or somebody is hurt, broken, or tore up, we normally try to help you. And I don't know which one of them it was, but most all of the racers are pretty passionate about helping you guys.
Yeah. So that was cool. All JFR final with Austin Prock and let the boss man win in there. But then Top Fuel, what happened in Top Fuel? Oh, same finals that we had in Bristol. We had a rematch of Tony Schumacher and Doug Coletta.
Yep.
Two of the greatest names in drag racing history right there. Doug Coletta winning. That was cool.
Yes, it was. And that team's on fire. Alan Johnson's doing a good job. That whole team's doing a good job. They're kicking butt.
What I like about drag racing, one of my favorite things about drag racing is, like John Force, like Tony Schumacher, personal stuff aside, history. Tony Schumacher dominated for like 147 years in a row, right? Goes back, has a lapse, loses his ride, not doing very well, back in the mix again. I feel like John Force has done it. Doug Coletta's done it in their career. It's so cool that the longevity of people to like have second and third and fifth wins. And I think on the TV this weekend, they said because I watched TV, if Tony Schumacher's made it out of the first round of competition this year, he's made it to the finals.
Yeah.
Pretty bad.
I think it's safe to say that the Sarge is back.
And, John Force gave a little hint there in his post-race interview.
Hurt my heart.
That he could potentially be done here in the near future. At first, he made it sound like he didn't know if he was going to Bristol. We all knew he was doing that, but
He's a bit dramatic.
But he did announce that it looks like Austin Prock will replace him when it is time for him to hang it up.
And if you have something negative to say about that, obviously this is America, you can say it, but like Austin Prock is clearly the guy.
He's the real deal.
You listen to his interviews,
He's good.
Energy, way he drives that freaking car, like that's the guy. And I was reading some stuff online and people, because I'm working on this opinion piece about John Force retiring and what that will do to the sport. And people talking about how does Brittany feel or Courtney feel about, especially Brittany, not being the one that he keeps saying going to replace it. I don't think it's not that Brittany won't carry on his legacy. I don't think he means anything by it, but personality-wise, driving structure-wise, what he's doing, Austin is so naturally there that it's so obvious that it's a perfect fit to what's going on.
And I've seen some comments on some posts by, I can't remember if it's NHRA or National Dragster who posted about how Austin Prock just got in a car that was already running at the front. Like that doesn't
go back and watch it.
It matters, right? Like, did you get in a car that is got a good tune-up and a good crew chief and it goes straight? You know, all those things do matter, but you still got to drive the damn thing. Like they could put me in it and I may crash it in the first one. You know, who knows? You still got to be able to do it.
Journey there, like when he was on this show, like go back and watch that. This isn't just somebody who bought a seat or just, you know, because of the family ties. This kid is the real deal and he's earned his spot there. And I think it'll be cool to watch, and we could do a whole show on this. Maybe we'll try and get John on at some point, but what happens to the sport when John Force retires? We had a real conversation about it as an editorial piece. And like I'm not being dramatic where it put a lump in my throat and it makes you want to cry because I can't imagine a day where John Force actually does that. That will affect all of us to your guts.
And here's the thing. If you watch, like I am a professor of watching drivers drive cars, evolution up and evolution down. If you watch his progression from the way they started the season, he's 150% better already. And he said that in our show. He said, I'm behind the car. I'm still figuring it out. But watching him week to week get better, he's good.
And they're not, and those things aren't like we go test, not all the time, but we test a lot, right? You can't just go test those things.
Right.
One, it cost a metric fuck ton. And two, there are not many tracks that we can just, like you and I, we can go 8th mile test anywhere. You know, like those cars have to have a pretty specific racetrack to do that. And they don't test a lot. They can't afford to.
Can't afford to. I mean, you put 15 people in a hotel for 3 days and move 2 trucks and trailers and tear up the amount of shit that they tear up to go test.
Well, but even testing in Indy where they all live, right? Like all that expense is gone, but it's still like.
But it's still $27,500 and $300 a day.
Every time you stomp the pedal on one of those things, thousands of dollars.
Plus the $27,503 a day in track rental.
It's insane.
We'll eat that up pretty fast.
Yeah, we got on a John Force tangent there, but he's
all right. So, anyways, John Force, man, funny car. We got Doug Clittle winning. Hostock, who won Pro Stock?
TJ Coughlin beat Erica in the finals. That 50th, those elusive big ones. I think it rounded Greg Anderson for like 18 races or something. He didn't win trying to get that 100th. This happens, and Erica's like so fucking pissed. But TJ earned it, drove really, really well. And then was bikes there? Bikes weren't there.
I don't think.
No, bikes were in Bristol. Bikes weren't there. So TJ getting a very much needed win for them boys in yellow, Kyle Bates and Kelly Murphy. By God, Kelly Murphy, the most competitive, angry little motherfucker I've ever met in my life. He was pumped. You can imagine.
Always cool to see snowmobiles and drag and drive cars in Epping. Watching the snowmobiles is cool for me. Like, it's just weird. You're just standing on the starting line or just snowmobile and they're pretty fast. It's just pretty cool. I mean, if I lived up there, I'd probably have a drag racing snowmobile.
Not cool when they cancel our session to run those things.
When they call us up for the primetime session, get ready to run us and then scrub us for the snowmobiles and drag and drive, Stevie J was mad. Stevie J may have told a couple of NHRA officials to F themselves in the staging lanes. I was hot. I was hot. That was kind of ill time. But they did make up for us and give us 3 on Saturday, which was good.
And it was live TV Friday night. I will say I don't agree with Nix and y'all for the snowmobiles, but keeping on pace when there's live TV with the pros, it's an unnecessary demon you got to do.
Yeah. Well,
Right, Nitro?
What do you think?
He thinks so.
Nitro's ready to roll.
Yes.
Nitro, where's Jack? Where's Jack? Where's he at? He's looking around. He's like, I don't know.
I don't know where Jack is.
I'm gonna go find him. Everybody still thinks that Nitro's Jack's dog.
Okay. Are we smoking to Bristol?
I think we can. I gotta tie my shoelaces and buckle.
Are we gonna start with other things and then get to where we really want to get? Or are we starting there?
I think that we
Lead there.
you just want to just crash the airplane now. You don't want to put us in any severe turbulence or anything, or let everybody know we're going to discontinue the cabin service. You just want to crash us bitch into a mountain.
Quickly go through the other classes if you want, but
Okay, let's quickly go through the other classes. We got a special guest we're going to get on in a memento. Let's start at the top.
Tony Schumacher wins Bristol for the 7th time.
And avenges himself.
Payback on the
Avenges his Epping loss. It was good to see Phil Berto on the starting line, turning on air bottles and stomping around. And I know he had to drink a beer in the winner's circle, and I like anytime that happens. So good.
Austin Prock back in the final. Gets her dead.
398'd him to death. And every time Jimmy Prock's like, I thought he'd run a little faster than that. He's like,
every interview's like, we had a little more, I thought.
damn crew chiefs.
Christ.
Badass. Great racing there.
Jeggy. If you are not a fan of Jeg Coughlin Jr., don't fucking talk to me. That man is the coolest ever. 6-time world champ. He's won in 7 different freaking classes.
Gets out of the car, just cool as a cucumber, just walks over, does the interview.
And I saw Jimmy Owen on here. Jimmy, great job with the track and facility and everything this weekend. Place looked great. You guys battled some things on the racetrack this weekend that most could not have overcome, including that awful oil down by that Nostalgia funny car, which you guys cleaned up in record time. And I think the very next run, Clay Milliken and whoever he was running went side by side.
I think it was Tony.
No.
Yeah.
He lost first round.
No, I meant Schumacher, but
oh, it may have been.
Yeah.
But great job by all of your staff, Jimmy. It was great.
yeah, that was
Track was we'll get to pro monitor talking about that. Track was challenging our first 2 sessions because of how bald it was in the middle from the rain, but they did a great job of battling back, getting the racetrack back, and even with it hot, it was great. It was pretty good on Saturday.
I want to put my Enders hat on for a minute real quick because I'm reading comments and I read them on our social too. Like, it's so crazy. When Erica wins and beats a teammate, people are like, oh, it's the Erica show. When Erica loses to a teammate, it's like, what happened to Erica, yada, yada. And if Richard Freeman, he told me he was going to watch this show, even though we don't make money doing it and it's stupid.
Was that pay?
Yeah, he asked me today, what's that pay? I said,
Hey, I sent you the financials today. Show it to him and tell him that's 28 days of earnings.
he said,
That's pretty good.
I said, get ready for shake and bake. What's that pay? I said, nothing. He goes, fuck, I wouldn't do it. But then at the end of the conversation, he goes, send me the link. I want to watch. So anyway, it is good for everyone and good for business when we are literally going down the roster of a 9-car team and different people are winning at every race. If you think Erica's upset or Richard's upset or I'm upset, you've never been inside the ropes at Elite Motorsports. Elite Motorsports success means a different elite winner every single weekend, and we're doing a good job. I'm very excited for Jaggy.
Gage Herrera breaks. God, I can't remember whoever it was that he surpassed for the most wins in a row. He did not qualify number 1.
Anyone on a whole shot.
Matt Smith paced the field in qualifying. I think he outran him by like several hundredths of a second. But Gage Herrera did what Gage Herrera does on race day.
Wins.
And God, that kid's
Dave
good.
Schultz. He passed the record for most consecutive
Dave
wins.
Schultz. Gotcha.
How crazy. Like, I feel like we're turning a corner for the bikes because Matt's there for the last year and a half or so. It's just been nobody can touch Gage. Matt's there, and it was a little baby hole shot. And so
they're getting there. They're getting closer.
Grabs, but now Gage is just gapping the field. Gage won that round.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's big.
Oh, hey, Jackson.
Oh, my little Bubby.
He saw Nitro and he want to hang out. Oh, yeah. We can make shows pet friendly. We're just not kid friendly.
Correct.
All right.
It's time to crash the airplane.
Let's talk about Pro Modified.
Let's talk about the the class of the entire event. We've had him on the show before. I used to make fun of him all the time. He used to be Farmer Fran. Now he's turned the corner. He's driving like a badass. I'm proud of him. I want to bring on the most controversial man in drag racing right now. If you are in the sport, you've talked about J.R. Gray in the last 48 hours. Welcome to the Shake and Bake Show.
There he is.
Bristol winner.
What's that, Maya?
Oh, that's good.
It's gonna be good. I don't know how many of the folks from California are lurking in the background, but I bet it's more than one. JR, good to see you, buddy. We're a few days removed from one of the most tumultuous. I got more phone calls about you this week than probably after any event ever, whether I won it or lost it. How you been, buddy?
I've been doing good. Monday was a recovery day, and so I went to work for a half a day and then came back and just chilled out and got my mind right, and now I'm back at it.
One thing that I noticed about your car is your car looked the best I've ever seen it this weekend. Your car, now, not how fast it was running or how you were driving it. Your car looked good. When it went down in Q1, I was like, that's a good looking race car.
Because Hannah's standing there.
Huh?
That's because Hannah's standing there.
Oh, yeah. But you look like you turned the corner driving. You're driving the shit out of it. Teams coming together. To walk us through the weekend. Start from the beginning from Friday and roll down. Tell us about your weekend.
Let me start off. I do want to thank my sponsors real quick before we get started, if you don't mind, and a few other people.
Take as much time as you want.
So I'd like to thank AAP for everything they do for us in KH. Mike Janus Superchargers, Todd Drive and Todd Tutterow, Kinetic Engineering, Chris Bell, WB Henry Contracting, Camtech Custom Baggers, Red Electrical, Bach Oil Company, and JG Civil. My crew, Mike Jr., Mike Janis, Mark, Max, Kevin, Peter. I'd like to thank all my fans for all the support y'all have given me and always standing behind me even when we were on that tough road. And, I'd like to thank Mike Stav. Mike Stav is part of the organization, and he's been a great asset to have. And I appreciate him coming on board and going this year with us. But as far as this weekend went, we just come off the trailer. We had a good buzz going as far as the whole crew and everything. We had everything kind of shaked up. And so we just, we went on there, and I'm trying to remember both cars busted off two good passes right on Q1 on a hot track. We had bald surfaces. We both went 1 and 2. So we were ecstatic. Both cars were going straight. And in reality, the gray car, even though it didn't qualify, it made 4 solid runs down the racetrack. And I truly believe that we'll have it gathered up and ready to go in Virginia. And our car, in Q2, we had an air regulator problem, which caused my car to go into burnout from third to first. On the low side, the regulator was changing the pressure, which messed everything up and caused the car to go from third to first. So I think when we came back up for Q3, trying to remember what happened on Q3. I think we might have just shook the tires, but then Q4 we laid a good pass down.
Yeah, Q4 we went 79, right?
Yep, yeah. Chris Thorne went, I think, 75 or 76.
Yeah.
And then we turned around and went 79. We were the only 2 cars that went in the 70s during qualifying.
Maybe, for the people who haven't watched a lot of Bristol Pro Mod racing, 570s in Bristol is very rare. Like I've seen a lot of. The only time I've seen 570s really ever consistently is in the turbo days when they had a bunch of boosts. Turbo guys will go out there and do that. But generally, maybe one time in an event do you ever see a car run in the 70s. So like when y'all dipped into the 70s, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, so, we were ecstatic and all pumped up and ready for race day, So long story short, our regulator, we put a second set of regulators on the car, the same set that we'd replaced the first time. And Junior looked over the data on, I guess that would have possibly been Saturday night or Sunday morning, and seen that the same regulator low side pressure was changing on its own after Q4 again. It was low. So which would have caused another situation of going from first or third to first type situation. So they made a decision to replace the regulators from the 69 car and put them into my car at the last minute before E1. And that's kind of how everything started snowballing from there. Do you want me to keep on going over every run, or how do you want to go from there? You want to stop?
Let's keep on rolling. So you get to E1. Who'd you race in E1?
E1, we had Doug Winters.
All right.
So we
Doug sent me a message today to say that he was smoking your ass until his transmission didn't shift or something. He said he was crushing.
Smoking your ass till he wasn't.
That's
on the show.
That's until he's seen high gear.
So you seen that?
And so then on Q2, we come back around and we're stoked. Q2, I think we kind of ran a little slow. I think we ran slow in E1, but I mean E2, we ran Dimitri, and it was a drag race. And you know, in my opinion, Dimitri knew he needed to go, so he red light. Honestly, I didn't know he red light, and I drove the car. I was trying to come around him so hard, I was bending the firewall looking for more gas pedal. So, and honestly, as a driver, I'll tell you, my timing, I drove through the finish line so hard, my timing was off. When I went up to go throw the chute jumped out of my hand because the lady threw the chutes for me. And we rolled on, you know, when I rolled on and shut down. In my defense, I only drove the car 3/10 from normal shut off. So it wasn't like I killed it, but in my mind, you know, all them years you yelling at me about the finish line, you know, in my mind, I missed the finish line by a mile.
Well, nitrous racing, you can't do that just because the heads come off. They're trying to come off all the time anyway.
And so that was Dimitri was E2.
Yep.
And then E3 we had Thielen, Mike Thielen, my old teammate with Ricky Smith's nitrous car. So yet again, you know, they weren't running too sporty, and yet again, you know, he thought he needed to go, so he goes up there and goes 17 red. And honestly, yet again, I'm running him down. I have no clue there's no red lights, and I'm running the hell out of the car going down through there because they don't break radio silence, and we blow right on past him and collect that win. And then the stage is set for the final round between me and Chris Thorne. You know, and I felt like we had a good race car, and I decided I wasn't going to play any games. I was going up there, and I was just going to go on in because I wasn't going to screw around with him and line up and just let the best man win. And that's what we did. We went up. I turned the second bulb on quick, didn't even hesitate as soon as he turned his first bulb on, and I barreled out of there and crushed him on the tree. And, you know, we just drug him all the way down until he shut the car off because he couldn't make it.
Now, the way Chris Thorne came out and started running, you know, they've set a pattern with that car. They normally don't run good until Q4, and then they normally pick up 7 or 8 or 900s in Q4. They did it again this weekend. But the way that thing was kind of rolling off those 75s and 76s on command, I thought you had a problem in the final. Like, I was like, they're about to turn the switch back on or put in the lock up or whatever they do when they got to pick up 800s. And run it down through there. I was thinking you didn't have enough car to do it. But when y'all left, I was watching. I said, JR crack first. And I knew it was going to be a dogfight. When you turned off the racetrack, like, so I've been fortunate to win a lot of these. Lyle's won some of these. You have been struggling for a couple of years. What does it feel like when you've been through that struggle and you get that Wally?
Well, I'll tell you this much, and on a serious note, this was the most important win of my career.
I understand that, and I know.
I mean, it was the most, and I'm not going to get into all the reasons personally why it was the most, but it was the most. My whole family was there, and they had been digging with me for the last 2 years while I've been in the ditches. And honestly, I didn't know if we were ever going to come out. I mean, at different points in time, we finally got, I really feel we got the car sorted out, but different points in time, I mean, I was in the pits, you know, what do we say, the pits of the despair or whatever? Like, I was down, like, and I don't know how to quit. So that's, you know, I'll keep on coming. And, but man, it was tough to dig up energy sometimes to come to the racetrack, you know, and, but anyhow, we got the car sorted out, and, but this was the most important win of my life. And so I get out the car with probably the most emotional. I mean, it was more emotional. How many 6-figure races have I been in?
A lot.
You know, grudge races, radio races. I mean, it was more important than all of that. It was more important than my first Pro Mod win. It was more important than just any win I've ever had. My first win in a race car period. And to me, with to have my kids there and it was congratulating, everybody was happy. I roll around the corner and, I'm just, I'm yelling in the car and I'm trying to get everything off to get out. And, everybody was running up and tackling me. And it was way more, a lot more energy in this win than even my prior NHRA win. And so we get out the car. I have no clue. I go do my interview. They had already weighed me on the scale, so I never even seen the car again. So I'm sitting next to Tony Schumacher in the truck. We got a ride down. I'm over there taking selfies with him, because I'm like, man, I'm in trophy. I got a Wally. I got Tony Schumacher. I'm taking pictures, and I'm on cloud nine. And I'm doing the dog and pony show, which, in reality, I'd rather have been with my family. But I'm having fun and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do for NHRA. And so we go to the stage and I do my interviews. It's starting to rain a little bit. I say, they're like, well, we don't know if we're having a winter circle that's raining. I said, well, I'm taking a winter circle picture. And so I called and I said, y'all bring my car back to staging. And I done decided even if they took the banners down, I was going to pull up in front of the Thunder Valley sign, and I was doing my winter circle picture right there. I was going to parallel park it. And so that was my next angle. And I came up with a plan. Of course, everybody was helping out, NHRA people and the photography. Everybody was on board. And so I got the car coming back up. Next thing I know, Junior comes up and he grabs me on the shoulder. I'm like, oh, what's up, man? He says, it's not good. And I'm like, thinking in my mind, did somebody get run over? Like, what's not good? I got all my kids like, it's not good. And I could see it in his face. And I'm like, man, in my mind, I'm like, one of my kids get ran? Like, you need to spit it out, like, what's wrong? And he says, we're D&Q'd. And I'm like, D&Q'd for what? And we're like Boy Scouts of America over here. What in the world we get D&Q'd for? And so I thought he was joking. And then he was like, it was safety switch and, it was whatever what word am I looking for here? Bypass, yeah. Bypassed. And so then you go from all of this, higher than I even wanted to be honest with you, emotion wise. And then now you're plummeting down. You're like, how are we gonna handle this situation? So
before we get into some of the drama about it, so I always watch the crew when somebody wins that hasn't won in a long time. And when I saw Janice Jr. come down to the top end when you got out of the car, like that's raw, real emotion. Like you have someone there who wants you to win as much as you do. Watching all your people on the starting line, you don't get to see that, but we do on the live feeder if we're standing there. They go ballistic. I mean, ballistic. So before we get into that, I want to explain to the fans what the safety violation was and what that system does. So in NHRA Pro Mod, we had an incident in 19 or 20, and I'm not going to say the person that it was an individual that ran a car that had no brakes and no air in the CO2 bottle. They elected to make the run, ran it down the track, and crashed the car into the net because it had no brakes and it had air launcher parachutes on it, which requires CO2 pressure to deploy the chutes.
And apparently no parachute handle.
I don't know that to be fact, but I've heard that it just had a push button on the wheel. I don't know that. After that race, NHRA mandated that we would have to have a safety switch that went to the CO2 system that requires 120 pounds per square inch of pressure. It has a wire that feeds the ignition wire off of it, and if our CO2 bottle is empty, the car won't run. It kills the ignition. It's one of the most all laws that we have in our whole world are because someone did something dumb. I mean, everything. I mean, every law. There are cars like JR's. This rule has been the topic of a lot of controversy over the years. I've told you guys off the show 2 different times in national events I have lost rounds because of this switch. I was actually racing Mike Janis Sr. in Las Vegas, and this failed, and he had smoked the tires and came around me and outrun me. And then the next time it failed, I was actually running Dimitri. I'm at the 330 again, and the car shuts off and he passes me. I've had that system bypassed on my car for the last 4 years. Ever since it's been mandated, I have it bypassed because I'm scared that it's going to fail. In a car like ours, like mine and JR's, the car will not. You can't drive the car without CO2. We have a planetary style transmission. We have a racing transmission. You can't put the car in gear. You can't shift the car. The trans brake doesn't work, and it cannot continue down the racetrack with no air. If JR's car loses air going down the racetrack, it simply downshifts to neutral. It goes to first gear, rolls against the sprag, and it stops running. That's it. So that's how the system works, and the rule book has stated that that's been an active rule for a long time. So that's where we are with the violation. Just to kind of let you guys know that. Now, I don't know how much everybody else knew about the rules and how they've been enforced and all that stuff. NHRA has been really cracking down on this, as we saw with Greg Anderson, with Erica lately. It really came as a shock to me that they took the action that they took.
I have a timeline question before we get into the
Oh man.
Oh, that's the internet's way of saying we don't want to hear your shit.
Oh my God! All y'all disappeared. Was it mine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were talking and commenting nicely about you.
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyway, so you passed the scales. You did all that. They throw you on the truck. Where did your car go? Did they send you to the barn? Did they come to your pit? Like, what was? I legitimately want to know how and when they did this inspection.
To my understanding, now yet again, when I found out about this, chaos was ensuing for a little while. To my understanding,
you're in the vortex of the NHRA shit.
Yeah, I didn't have to go to the scale. Like, I never seen the car. Like, I never left the.
So for fans too, I don't know if they did this, but the usual deal is in the semis, they weigh both cars, then they weigh the driver separately so that the driver can go do the hoopla. So JR's like out of touch.
I'm out of it. Supposedly, from my understanding, since they checked us, and I don't even know how much I believe this, but supposedly they checked us in Q2 and Q3, checked all cars between them two rounds, is my understanding. And I was fine because, yet again, the regulator system that we had made for the car, the wire plugged in, but when we replaced it in a hurry, the wire would not reach. And so anyhow, he says it was just laying on the floorboard where he could see it.
Okay.
So I will tell you that I swear it was after Q2 and Q3, but I know after Q3 for sure, when I pulled off the racetrack, I didn't even have my helmet off yet. And I look over and Jake's in the door and I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm just checking to make sure everything's hooked up and right. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And I went on and did my thing. But they 100% checked me, and I know of some others that said they did as well. You may not have even known that they checked your car, and they did.
I always see him running around, and like, again, I got nothing. I don't even worry about when he's around my car.
You do it right.
Never thought about it, and so I don't even pay attention to him because that's how open book it is. I don't worry about it.
So it was more or less after the semis when you guys were rushing to service that thing. That's Lyle, you're saying they checked it after third round. Obviously that's when it had happened. So I was just curious of like when and where they even do that. So they just stick their head in there and can see visibly.
Yeah. I mean,
I think they just pull in there and look at the wire and make sure it's plugged into something. They're not doing any. They're not doing accurate testing.
Okay. Oh, great.
They're not doing what you're saying is they're not doing any technical inspection.
They're not coming to the pits and doing the actual technical inspection. They're just looking to make sure it has a plug on it.
See, they do that.
2 wires are running up the wiring harness. That's all they're really checking.
Ever since the Vegas issue, when it happened to us, same deal, Stevie, like you said, it had failed before on multiple occasions. And so not that it was hey, we're going to just eliminate this. Jake had come up with a different bypass for our own deal. It still had that secondary safety net, if you will. But because it failed, and Lyle, I know you want to talk about avoiding a potential failure being a performance advancement, but they come around to us now because we did bitch about the main deal that Richard said was, I understand it's in the rule book. I understand that we agreed to this, but the consistency of checking and the consistency of enforcement was just hairy. So they come around for us.
Well, that's okay. And okay. So they found the wire. So, me and or not me and Jacob, but let's say I had a discussion with Jacob on the starting line as I'm nicely handing back my trophy.
I was going to
after
ask
an
you.
hour of interviews.
You had to give it back.
Here's what I can promise you, and I hope they're watching. There ain't nobody at the NHRA that could take that trophy from me in that event. I'm not saying that they can't give someone else a copy of it or give them a duplicate, but that trophy, that one, is coming back to Evans, Georgia.
Well, you live and you learn, and which I don't want to have experience for this situation to ever happen to me again. But in reality, I'd win. If they would have just told me, I'd have just grabbed my trophy and ran.
Like take off running.
I'd jump, slide into Escalade, and I'd have been peeling out of the parking lot.
It's got to be such an awkward conversation, like. Hey,
but when he said it, I'm so mad. Like, I'm trying to stay calm, and be professional. But I'm like, you're mixed of wanting to, just to be honest, you're a driver. I mean, I'm thinking about, like, I'll smash this trophy into concrete in a million pieces here in a second. Like, what in the world is going on? What are y'all talking about? So,
nobody can't.
But I'm still thinking there's hope. Like, I'm like, this can't be like the end all. Like, there's got to be an appeal. So anyhow, so we make it to the NHRA trailer, So then I get an NHRA trailer, and what I'll say, they listen very well, but at the end of the day, I realized, since I'm telling you, I laid it on them nice and professional, and I mean, I worked them all. I mean, I pointed out why my car, there was only really one thing the car might have 20% what even a pro stock might need it for. I mean, a pro stock can go down the track full steam with no air, to my knowledge. My car could not. And I explained everything, thinking that because the tech director has the final say. And the way I look at the rules, okay, the rules are written, you have a punishment. Okay, then the tech director can overrule or do what he wants to do. It releases him to make sure, in my opinion, the punishment's fair, or that it's an even playing field, per se, because rules and laws, even in this country, are interpreted by different people different ways. And then, to me, the only thing, we're not talking about I'm not even discussing and arguing whether a rule was broken. 100% agree. 100% agree. Never even argued that fact. I'm like, okay, I understand that. Everybody was trying to argue about silly things, and I'm like, look, I'm not talking about what the rule's broken. What I'm talking about, the punishment does not fit the crime in this situation. You're stripping me of Wally. And I honestly, in my heart, I don't, and I'd have to read the rule book. I'm not saying I wouldn't find some safety violations. I don't believe any safety violation should throw out any qualifying run, any lap at a track, or nothing. I believe there should be, or in my opinion, there should be a written warning on your first offense. Or, it's logged. And multiple, all safety can go together. But let's say you get a warning on the first one. The second one should be a fine. Third one, if you just ain't gonna listen and get your stuff together, 3 accidents is too much. Then you need to leave this next event, wherever you're at. Done deal. Go get your car back. Come back when we can inspect it again. But to me, what I want to do is I want to start a movement, because I just don't believe a safety, a performance enhancement part. Yes, you should be DNQ'd for your round or however them rules stop. But something that is not helping performance, safety should be on a different deal. You should have at least a first offense. This was the first offense of a violation I ever had.
Before we get into this, I do want to say, and I may be speaking out of turn here, but I was a fly on the wall for when Richard laid this out. We spent 4 hours up in the crew chief lounge after they threw out our rounds in Vegas last year, like championship on the line. Same deal. Richard said the punishment doesn't fit what it is. We had a secondary, but to my knowledge, and Lonnie was up there, very reasonable. And I think everyone on this show here, we've all had him on here. Lonnie's a reasonable guy. He's a racer. He's experienced it. There was a board. Once the tech director can bring his view and his situation to the board, but the board has the final say as far as I'm concerned. Richard, text me if I'm wrong. I remember them saying this. Lonnie pleaded his case to the board, and the board kicked back. Now, is that one of those big corporate situations where they just kind of put the blame on someone else, where they don't have to do a kind of physical assault that Richard Freeman may have done there? But I'm pretty sure that there is a board that can override the tech director for that deal. So
not only can that happen, but I'm going to put up, and I've got a lot of this we're going to put up today because I'm ready for it. But this is how the rule book actually reads. The tech director has a say. However, NHRA reserves the right to reverse such decisions or review such actions or inactions on its own initiative if it determines in its sole and absolute judgment to that such action is warranted. And that's in there because maybe the tech director is just having a bad day. NHRA has the authority post-race to reverse that decision. That's in the rule book. That's in the current.
And I don't know. Yeah,
well,
I don't know.
Well, they kept on talking, and I'll tell you this. They kept on talking about being that they had that, and I've had multiple friends of mine tell me the same quote, but that they have to be consistent. That you want consistent, tech people. And I'm sitting here and I still don't believe that, because yet again, they're talking about pro stock, and I'm describing to them technically the differences between the two cars and why it would be more important in a pro stock car than mine. But yet again, my car is only 20% of what that switch really does everywhere else. Only works in my car.
Does your car have air launcher parachutes or spring pilots?
Spring.
Right.
And that's why I laid all that on the table for him. I said, man, that the punishment does not fit the crime here. You keep on comparing me and talking about consistency, but it's not. This is all I'm saying is that, hell, I don't even believe that the pro stock car should have been thrown out for it. I mean, in reality, it was a system that was failing, that was not working, that, everybody was working on trying to provide a better. They're not going to give a crap whether I lose in E2 because that switch cut off.
Yeah.
They're going to be, oh, well, I'm sorry for you. Go buy another switch.
We tried to get fixed to it.
And we didn't, and honestly, we've had no problems out of the switch. Now, I will say that. Other people have, we have not. Mine was hooked up all the way until it got replaced, and for whatever reason, a wrong call was made. I'm not even saying it was the right call made on my car. All I'm saying is people are human. People make mistakes. Wrong call is made. As a team, we went down, because at the end of the day, it's all on me as a driver. My name's out there in front of everybody, but we all go down. If the boat sinks, we all sink together. And boy, did we sink.
And I think that because it was after a final, that's why this is such a big deal, right? It wasn't Richard made it a big deal, but it wasn't as big of a deal to the public when they threw out you guys' runs. What was that, Vegas last year or something like that?
Yeah, it was just
it was not a huge deal. It didn't stink up the internet when they threw out Greg Anderson for the same thing.
Yep.
Clay Milliken had a very similar issue, maybe not directly in relation to the air bottle, a loose weight puck, something, but again, it didn't make as big of a stink on the internet. The same punishment was handed down, essentially, right? Like they lost the previous run due to the infraction. Correct. However, in your case, it was the final round, and now it's a big deal. And I get it. And I had a bunch of messages like, why are you out and your boy and this, that, and the other? And I'm not. Like, I would love nothing more than for you to have added another one of those trophies to your cabinet. You deserve it. I still think you won the race. You should have gotten the points. You should have gotten all that, but at the end of the day, the NHRA, all we've asked for is consistency in the tech department, correct? That's all we've asked for. And they did that. But this time it just sucks really, really fucking bad. And, and people were on me about posting the rules out of the rule book and stuff. And again, nothing against JR, Janice Jr., Janice Sr., Hannah, you're kidding, nobody. Like, you guys deserve that. But at the end of the day, when the bad light is shed on us, and I've already saw a comment in here about nothing fair. Night, buddy boy.
Oh, Nash D.
I would let you come on the show, but you're naked.
Well, I don't like.
Night, buddy.
I'm out.
NHRA kept on talking about that we could adjust the rules different and stuff like that. But I told them, I said, listen, I don't think we should change the rules. That's a rabbit trail we don't need to go down here. It's not the rule. It's the punishment that's the problem here. It's the reason that race director has the final decision is in the rule book.
is because I believe that with anything, especially something that is a passion-based sports, you have to have some level of common sense that dictates a different outcome from the situation. And I'm going to give you a case in point. We have, all of us, I'm sure you probably have too, have gotten one race waivers on safety stuff. I have got one race waivers because my blower restraints were out of date. My wheels were out of date. We know that you don't have this at the race here. Have it fixed by next race. And we appreciate that. And we do that when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Right? That's
Correct.
NHRA working with us and saying, hey, we don't want to ruin your life. We want you to compete. We know there's nothing that you can do about this right now. Make sure it never happens again. And we do that.
All racing organizations do that. You know what I mean?
And we're thankful for that. But you have to have some level of common sense. I believe that they're making a poster boy out of you about this rule. I believe they figured they tried it with Erica and they tried it with Greg Anderson and people aren't getting the picture. We're going to make it stick. And I think that's where it come from. But
I don't disagree with that, but I think part of their reasoning for doing what they did was because sometime between the beginning of Q2 and the end of Q3, they verified that all cars were legal. So there is a chance that they thought
supposedly legal
in order to prevent, maybe you guys admitting that you were having a problem earlier that day, it looks like to them you purposely bypassed the switch in order to ensure that it did not fault you in the final and cause you to lose the race. And I could see that being a reason that they were like, they did that on purpose because they knew they had a problem and they knew that if they didn't do it, that this switch was going to shut their car off or do something. And that's why they did it. I could see that being a reason. I'm not saying that's why they did it, but
if you've ever been going down the track in competition and had one of those safety systems fail and your car cuts off, you can understand.
I don't disagree. I do not disagree.
In Gainesville last year, it happened to Austin Prock. It happened to TJ Coughlin, Aaron Stanfield, and because we don't know exactly what happened, are 99% certain that's what happened when Erica's car wouldn't start too, and that's why we created our own system for it and did that. But obviously, we got nicked for it, and now we're back to the is our shit gonna start? But you said something a few minutes ago, JR, that I think is good. The comments that are going off, I love it because the Shake and Bakers, this is why this is going to be such a good show, because y'all are passionate about what you think. JR said it himself, like having a rule and enforcing it is what we all want for this stuff. We're in an adjustment period, I feel like, with the NHRA, especially in Pro Mod, where we're finding this happy medium of they're paying attention. The parity is good. Things are moving in the right direction and we're paying attention to things. And unfortunately, you're the martyr and you're the guy that this fell on. But I think that that's a good thing because, like you said, you want to start a movement, right? I personally, it's a rule. If they say you have to put a purple heart on your car, you got to put a purple heart on your car. Like you got to do it. Doesn't matter if you crash your car and that purple heart piece of the car comes off, you got to put it back on, right? But you're the kind of guy to where in this situation of having the Wally literally stripped from your hands can create this movement. And if the punishment doesn't fit the crime, and if situations where maybe even the Leahy switch technology needs to be bettered, and we go to the teams on the NHRA side and say, hey, how can we make this better to where you guys are more confident in it, to where we know for a fact this isn't going to be something where, like you said, Lyle, they skated it on purpose or something. So unfortunately for you, getting that Wally stripped out of your hands, you may be the guy. Other people may have been quiet and just rolled back to their trailer, not said anything. If some changes can be made. I don't think this is a let's shit on the NHRA or let's shit on the Janices or whatever it may be. I don't think there's necessarily a bad guy. I think it's how do we figure out how to make this better? And unfortunately, you for your Wally count, that sucks. You're the guy.
If we want to make sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm fried up like yesterday's chicken. I knew that from the time I left the damn trailer that it was over with for me. Like, you know, that was just, they brought me in the trailer to try to make me feel better about their decision. They didn't come in there really to hear me. I mean, I had them, I thought I was going to make them all cry at one point in time, but it still didn't matter. I was putting out the door.
You're done. It's
But
black and white.
If you want to make it where no competitors can ever go down the track with a CO2 bottle, ban turbo 400s. You'll never do it. You can't pull off. You can't drive down the racetrack.
Well, my question is why don't they come in the pits My question is okay, we're looking at some wire, right? Why aren't they coming out and testing that thing accurately?
Well, and that's what I want to talk about once now we're kind of getting to this point. I think NHRA has been doing a great job with parity and pro mod. I think that they are listening to us, and I'm not bashing the NHRA. It is not to my best. My company fields NHRA pro mods. It is not in my best interest to make the NHRA mad at me or to make my customers rant.
Correct.
But with that said, I wish that we were spending as much effort in the parity side, in the performance gain side of technical inspection, as we do on some things that I feel are silly. And I'm going to just bring up some rules that we're not enforcing in NHRA. Okay, like my here's one thing: that there's illegal cars that race this weekend every weekend with more than one pressurized container in the car. That's in the rule book. I mean, guys that are running very well. Here's another one. Go and tech this rule and tell me how many cars can go down the racetrack in NHRA Pro Mod. How many cars have blowers that are not more than 1.5 inches above the roof? See who's legal to race. Let's go and look at this one, which is my most favorite topic: the manipulation of transmission or converter pressure or volume, other than on the starting line, is prohibited. Pressure manipulation control must be disarmed upon the release of the trans brake. How many people have linkages in their transmission pan? Like, let's look at
the manifold issue. Add the manifold issue in Pro Stock.
Okay.
User.
How about let's go ahead and get a tape measure out and let's check some engine setbacks. There's about 2 cars that be up there for Q1. And this is a favorite of mine. This is a ballast rule. I just went through the rule book and picked out things that everybody's illegal on. You know that you can only have 30 pounds on your nose per NHRA Pro Mod rule book. And you know that weight can only be a maximum of 36 inches in front of the center line of your car, in front of your front cross member. All right, I just measured all of our cars in the shop today. Here's where our weight pucks are. None of that's legal. That's my rearward facing weight bar mount. That's illegal. That's in all of our cars. This is my own personal car. We got weight at 44 inches. We can't mount any weight to the front of our car. So what I'm getting at is there's a whole slew of performance enhancing stuff that we don't tech, but we're worried about something silly. And that's
I just got something texted to me too while we're on this list of this. 2023 Gainesville, Mike Salinas rolled across the scales, 30 pounds light, deducted his points, kept his trophy, kept all that shit. So it's I get what they're saying. And I do want to say to Mr. Greg Jr. says, go to the IHRA, don't be naive. NHRA is the bad guy. Listen, we're not like NHRA is the place to play. We want to figure out a way where
it is. And people like that are the fucking problem.
And
those are the people that I have a problem with.
Don't be naive. This is the 4 of us here. This is what we do. This is what we
like
do.
Literally trying to make it. And you got I can't, in fact, just log off, dude.
It's the playground to play. And our goal here,
that's why I made my post about had nothing. And I had people like, you're siding with, no, I'm not. Like, I think the NHRA's decision based on this particular infraction was wrong. However, those of you that NHRA fucking sucks, I don't know why anybody watches that, but you're the problem. Go watch anything. I don't give a shit what you go watch, but quit watching us and keep your fingers off the keyboard. Get fucked. Like,
people don't know the promo.
Like, we're out here trying to make it, and maybe that keeps some other family or one of your friends to sell their tickets to come the next week. Like, we need asses in the seats, and people like you fucking suck.
And I can speak for this, and every one of us on this call. I've been in meetings with y'all behind the scenes. Debbie O'Rourke, everybody.
Greg, it's not true.
That does what we do to try and figure out a way to make NHRA Pro Mod the place to play for guys like JR and Lyle and Stevie. And it's difficult at times, and we all have our things to say about all the sanctioning bodies because we're on the different side of it. But the people who are there, JR included, have committed to this program. These people are spending a lot of money. We've brought in, all worked together to bring sponsors in. We have a hospitality trailer. There's a lot of shit that y'all don't understand. It's taken 10 years to make this NHRA Pro Mod program work. The amount of TV time we get, running on Sunday, being a part of Driver Intro, JR being in that truck with Tony Schumacher. There's been a lot of work. You don't just say, fuck them. You say, hey, hear me. Like, I'm upset. There's an issue. Poor JR, this situation, punishment didn't fit the crime. But the answer isn't fuck them. The answer is,
No.
how do we vocally
Change.
what we're doing here, figure out a way to make everything so. And I wasn't going to get heated on this, and people are going to tell me I suck off NHRA and all the things, but like, we've chosen the playground, and this is where we're going to do it. And we've done a lot of work. Parity's a lot better. All the things are better. And this is why we do shows like this and have these hard conversations to bring attention to it, to make it better. And I think all y'all on the show, right? We started here. We're here. We're not there yet, but we're fucking here. So
Well,
Now, let me say this real quick. NHRA period, or NHRA Pro Mod, or any NHRA national event is the pinnacle top shelf of any place you can race on the planet. It is
100%.
the hardest competition. It's the only, like Pro Mod, you got to be the right kind of driver to drive a Pro Mod through the quarter mile. Like, there's a lot of 8 mile drivers that's going to have nothing to do with it. But my point is, NHRA is the best organization to race with. You can't just get mad and poke your bottom lip out. Did this hurt me and my family? Yes, it hurt me. It hurt me all the way to the core. But I'm not sitting here even arguing about whether I had a broken rule. I'm wanting to put in the time and try to take that everybody pays attention to what happens, JR, and let's put it to some good. And let's try to change the rules, because I don't want anybody else to ever feel this way over a safety violation when they haven't then ever had a offense. I don't want them to ever feel this way and get a Wally ripped out of their hands ever again. Like, it'll never happen to me again, but I literally don't want nobody else to go down this road and face this, because I'm dedicated. Some other people probably would have walked off or got their feelings hurt or did something that they couldn't take back. But at the end of the day, I did it, and I'm here still supporting NHRA. Do I like what happened? No. Do I think they should have did something different? Totally. Absolutely. I think they had the right. I think they had the authority, and they chose not to do it. And I think they know they should have. At least 2 out of 3.
What they should have done is find you monetarily, taking a round of points, something, and that's it. Don't do it again. And they would have got the same result.
Yes.
They would have got the same result. I guarantee you, when we get to Virginia next week, everybody's safety stuff is going to work when they get there. But they would have got the same result. And I hate the lack of tact. And don't take what I'm saying wrong. NHRA is the pinnacle of door car racing in the world. If you don't believe how hard it is, here's what I challenge you to do. Look at a Midwest race, or look at a PDRA race, and pull up the time slips on Thursday of those guys' first 3 or 4 runs, and look and see how they'd be qualified. That's what NHRA is. We don't get a test run. We don't get to spend a day figuring out, go to the hotel, and come back and make an adjustment.
Not allowed to test there 7 days prior to the event.
It is the hardest place to race that I've ever raced, and that's why I love it. And
you can't mimic the tracks anywhere. You can go to everywhere you want, test everywhere you want, but when you get there, you're not mimicking an NHRA track. You're just not going to do it.
Right, and I am thrilled with how NHRA has worked with us as the Pro Mod group this year. More than they've ever have. They ask what we think. They ask, and they can't always
run.
They can't always do what we want, but more times than not, they work with us and they come up with a good fit for everybody. Just like Epping, we were mad as hell they scrubbed our Q2. They used to 2 years ago. Last year, if they said we're going to give you guys 3 runs on Saturday, everybody'd be like, "Yeah, right." Like, you're not going to do that. You're just going to put that shit on the schedule.
Y'all still were saying, right? This.
And now I'm looking.
I was saying that.
Now I'm looking at those comments, but on back there he says, Greg Jr. says the NHRA is not helping Pro Mod at all. Stevie, since you've been running Pro Mod, which is longer than any of us in here, how many times have you had consistent Sunday coverage on Fox with the main show?
Never. We're as good a place.
So this is the first time. Okay.
Ever been. Yes.
How long? How at any point during your tenure here have you had a full-blown hospitality trailer with awning, food, a place for you to take your sponsors, anything of that nature?
No.
Any of that? Have you? I get it. The parking's been a little back and forth, but
the parking's only a problem because we have
so many
more participation.
Like
we don't have a problem because there's not enough parking spots. We got a problem because we got so many cars that want to race.
That's correct. And like people on the outside, they don't see it and get it. Like, you got to come to a race to come and see that this is what's going on. But never have we had the attention. Never have we. I don't want to call it pull, but never have we had listening ears from the NHRA, actually taking in what we're telling them and allowing us to always race on Sunday, the TV coverage, the hospitality for us to take our sponsors. Like, there are really good things happening, and the car count is reflecting at this year. Since this is the first year since I've started racing Pro Mod that we have had full fields at every race this far into the season. Period.
It's the first time that's ever happened since I've been racing NHRA Pro Mod.
So,
how about the fans? The fans in NHRA. Now, if you go to any of these other races, if y'all been, there's no fans there. It's just racers are the fans, and racers' families are the fans. Here, we have fans that come and travel and buy tickets and keep up with everything, and they come and tell you that they know everything that you're doing. And I mean, you don't get that at other racing facilities. I mean, in radio racing, we had it, but like in Pro Mod, you don't necessarily have it, but at NHRA, in my opinion.
And I'm not dogging out these other series. I love PDRA and I love Midwest and I love NMCA.
And there's room for
run from PDRA races. I'm not dogging them out at all. I'm a fan of everything that's drag racing when it comes to door cars. If you're putting people in the stands, I am a fan. But we are up 70% on average car count this year, while drag racing is supposedly dying. Pro Mod has grown more in NHRA than any class in the sport, period. Not by 5%. And we're doing good. It's this. I wish this weekend was handled different.
I do too, and I think that's the important part of the whole point I made of JR. Call it God, call it fate, call it Wally Parks from up above, whatever it may be. But you being the guy that this happened to, I think, is important because, like I said, you've got a social following. You're able to come on the show. A lot of people wouldn't have come on this show. This happened to a couple of these guys. We all know the ones we're thinking. They just said, nope, can't say it, won't do it, won't talk about it. This is a real conversation that needs to happen that people will listen to. But
I told that our Shake and Bake group, I said, I don't know if JR will come on Tuesday. I said, I don't know if he'll be calmed down by that.
Yeah, he will.
And what I said was, we don't have another guest.
Some bitch going to come on here.
We don't have another guest. We don't have another topic. If you don't come on, this is still what this show would have been. We would have just been speaking for you. But I think the two important things to walk away from this deal is, JR, you got work to do. All of us, even those of us who've been hit by it, the elite crew, Greg, everybody that's been hit by it, you've got to come together and say, hey, calmly go to the NHRA, figure it out. But those kinds of things are the things that Greg Juniors and people in the comments don't understand, that we do have that right. You guys bring money to the NHRA. We are an organization like the Pro Stock Bike, where we get to say, hey, we have a voice. We're bringing a check to the situation. Listen to it, because driver intros, you guys are involved. The truck, you're involved. Getting to stand in that, whether it got ripped out of your hands or not, getting to stand up there and do that interview after that. They didn't used to let Pro Mod do that shit, right?
The last time I remember getting in the truck with the big guys was in like 2018 or 19. That hasn't happened in a long time. I don't know if they've been doing it the rest of the year.
They said that they were only going to do it when bikes weren't there. Bikes were fucking there.
Yeah, they did it. They let me do it in Dallas when I won my first one, and all the pro categories were there.
And that's a cool
Those
deal.
Things are big deals. The people in the comments who aren't a part of this organization don't understand that those are the little things that make a big deal to your experience, Lyle, Stevie, JR, when you're on that stage, your sponsors, your family, the whole experience. And that's why you go NHRA racing, period.
Right.
So do they need to handle it different? Maybe yes. We'll figure out a way to do it.
But
you got to be a voice. Be a voice.
We can quit talking about it if y'all want to after this. But what I think some people don't understand is the reason that rule was made whenever, Steve, if we're not going to mention his name, had the switch that we are talking about been in that car, it would have never made that run. It could have killed him. It broke his back. It was a really bad situation. And call it knee jerk, call it what you want. They made this rule after that. It's never cost anybody a final round that I know of, right? It's never cut anybody else's car off in the final, and they won, and they jerked a while.
It's cut mine off before I could get to the finals.
Correct, but JR is probably the first one that had a Wally ripped from his hands due to this rule, right? And maybe they'll make a change, but what people have got to understand is they made this rule in hopes to potentially save somebody's life, right? And that's why. Is it harsh? Yes, 100%. I think JR should have his trophy. He should have kept the win, dock him some points, and maybe they'll make a change. But I don't think people understand why the rule was made in the first place.
But let's also talk about that for a minute, because I've heard stories about all of that, and but my understanding, you're 3 strikes, you're out, and I think that there was 3 or 4 errors made that day to where he wound up in the catch fence over making 3 or 4 mistakes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Don't
these
disagree.
cars are deadly, but you can't have no brakes and go up and try to make a pass. You can't, you know,
Have an air
run
launcher
right,
with no
have an
seal.
air launcher shoot, and then if you don't have you should mandate, if they need to mandate something, having a manual chute release so you can kill the car with your ignition switch, throw your parachute, and you at least be half the speed you were, even if you didn't have no brakes. But you know what I'm saying,
I feel like this about all laws. I don't think you can ever legislate stupidity out of a sport, because like if you make the rules where racing NHRA Pro Mod is 100% safe, you will have the most boring show on earth.
Right.
I mean, they'll run 80 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, these things are deadly. They are death traps. They are the most dangerous thing in NHRA outside of maybe a Nitro Harley. They're not safe. And I know we try to make them safe, and we go through whole events where everybody's okay, but this because they're piloted by badass drivers, ran by badass crew chiefs.
Yeah.
If you want to know how hard it is, look at Mason Wright. Showed up. We're not talking about last year. We're not talking about 6 months ago. 6 days ago, he won a national event and didn't qualify at this one.
Yeah.
Know that they didn't change anything in the car. They didn't test anything, and they didn't have any new parts. That's how hard it is. And that's why winning one of these is so special, because it is hard.
And going back to what I was saying about with the why the rules made, it really don't matter the rules made for safety. We all agree on that. But yet again, my whole thing is sometimes it takes common sense. Why that rule was made, even that car compared to my car, 2 totally different things. I mean, totally the switch only won't let the car crank up if I didn't have air pressure, and it'll kill the ignition if the air pressure drops. If the air pressure drops, my car is going to be downshifting and slowing down anyhow. Just period.
It's going to take education, and I'm not saying that the NHRA tech is whatever, but as things progress and this technology goes, I don't know how it is there, but on the pro side, we work with the tech department to help them learn why things are and rules get evolved. Like the whole diffuser and the manifold thing, that was a 3-race debate of them coming to us saying, what do you guys need to do this? And what do we need to know? And educating them to be able to make an amendment or not make an amendment to a rule. So they're, in most cases anyway, and what I've seen, willing to do that. But I don't think a lot of people understand how much that they lean on the team's knowledge and the crew chiefs and the drivers and things of that sort, to where if you just kind of take this and run and like be mad and bitch about it and deal with it, you gotta voice that and say, hey, help me help you. Like, help you help me in a situation where everybody's working together. And those guys, Jake, Lonnie, the actual heads that are peeking in your car, like, they want to learn. They want to know, even off the books, whenever they take off their ovals of their shirt, they come over and they ask questions, because they want to be able to feel like they're as smart as, not smarter, but as smart as the teams, because in some instances they're not, because you guys are the ones building these things and doing the R&D and putting it onto the racetrack, to where they don't really have the ability to do that. They just abide by this little Bible. So there is this want to do that if you hit the right heads there. And again, JR, I've said it for the 9th time. You're the fucking guy. So go.
So I've seen this question come up a lot. So some folks may not know what this means. The guy that ran the car into the net had an air launcher chute, which is an air cylinder that's got CO2 pressure to it. I think all of the pro stock cars run an air launcher, and it requires air pressure to push the chutes out into the wind stream. Okay. It is my belief that no car that runs 200 miles an hour should have an air launcher.
I agree with that.
If they have not failed, they will fail. If you have an air launcher, you've had the parachutes get wrapped up under the wheelie bar. And if you've ever done that, you don't have that anymore. I won't drive a car 1/4 mile that's got an air launcher parachute. I won't do it. It's going to have a spring pilot or a cannon on it. Every car I have has got cannons, which is a big spring that shoves the chute out, because it's mechanical and can't fail. Yeah. But I've seen a bunch of questions there. I just wanted to.
And I said this earlier, not 100% knowing. We are required by rule for the handle to be CO2 powered, correct? Like
the handle has to have an air cylinder on it that when the Leahy switch or the modern switch, whatever system cuts off the vehicle, if the fire bottle system deploys, it fires the parachute handle.
Right. And that's when they're talking about,
or the burst panel tether. Either way, if you power your car on your NHRA car, turn on the ignition, okay, and unplug your burst panel tether. The fuel shutoff's supposed to cut off. The parachutes are supposed to come out. The ignition's supposed to be turned off.
But that's not hooked. That's the Leahy, and then the air switch is something,
The air switch is tied into the ignition circuit. Correct.
Correct. Only to the ignition.
So
my Leahy was working, but yet again, just explaining to the fans, my Leahy system was working fine. Hell, I tested it in round 2. I tested it in round 2, and it worked just fine.
Yeah.
And so the field tested it anyhow. But and so that's where my switch is what failed. Just explaining to everybody, that's it. It wasn't really what's supposed to shut me down if I'm running off to the end of the track to the wherever. That was going to work just fine. It was just a switch. Which yet again, if you have a 400 turbo 400 and you can put it manually in drive,
right,
it's more important in that car.
Right, and you can manually shift it if you have to.
Correct.
You can shift it.
Yeah.
With a JR style transmission, the car cannot be put into first gear at all without air. You cannot put it in forward without applying the transmission.
You can't get it out of reverse. You're just going to be sitting there trying to get it out. So,
I think that this will breed some good conversation, hopefully some open-mindedness, and I think that'll be some good stuff that comes about of it. I'm sure that there are, our racing cars are very complex. It would be very difficult for any technical person that does not specialize in pro mods to have a complete understanding of the whole car. It would be. So the tech department is always learning, and they're smart, but they are always learning too. And I'm hoping this brings about some good conversation.
I think most of them, maybe not the board, but most of them there, like I said, want to. So it's our job, maybe not mine. And people, I'm going to get, like I do every week, like, what do you know? You don't drive all the things, but I see the political side and the back end and the administrative side of it. But they do, and it's up to us, y'all, to do that.
I want to see as much attention brought to the performance enhancing violations as we do.
Let's go.
Let's check when somebody picks up 800s in one run, let's go take it apart.
When the track gets worse and the air gets worse and we get about 3 or 4 in there, and let's do that. Bring on all the
3 numbers out the back at one time. Let's take it. Let's look at that thing. Let's see what's happening.
But it's going to take things like this to make that shit happen.
JR, will you tell the people on here that your Facebook got hacked and that's not you posting those snappy quotes, please? I've seen like 50 comments like, "Oh, JR's getting his feels on it." No, his Facebook got hacked, guys. Shit, it's gone.
J.R. GRAY Racing got stolen. I've reported it 5,000 times to Facebook, and they told me it's all perfect, nothing's wrong.
Yeah,
I'm like, you made me share my ID to prove I'm J.R. GRAY, I'm J.R. GRAY, but you won't give me my racing page back. So my new page is just J.R. GRAY, no racing on it. You can follow me on that, but the J.R. GRAY Racing, as far as Facebook's concerned.
How did you get somebody from Facebook on a telephone?
There's a little thing where you can go and report.
Right. Okay.
The computer sends you back and says there's no problem.
Yeah. Somebody stole Stevie Jackson one time, and it took me a year to get it back. I was in Facebook jail for a year. And
we lost J.R. Enders Racing Twitter for good. We just quit Twitter. Spencer's got hacked. Same deal as yours, JR. I think it's the same people.
I'm thinking it has something to do with I'm wondering if we all use the same app to relate Instagram and Facebook racing, because I think it was with that app somehow it got in there, but either way it's gone and I can't get it back. So
you can't even shut it down.
No, my name's sitting out there on it and they won't do anything about it.
And they're saying embrace the day of love and shit.
In Chris Thorne and Jamie Miller's defense, I was told that they told NHRA that they did not want the win.
Correct.
And that they wanted to know if there was anything they could do to refuse the win. So that hadn't been brought up, but I want to give props to those guys for knowing that they got defeated at that event and being man enough to own it.
I called Chris and I said, and I'll just say this. I called Chris and said, man, I need one favor, man.
Got to get a copy of that trophy, baby.
I said, I want a copy of that trophy, and I might burn it one day, but I ain't ready to burn it yet, and I want to put it on the mantle.
Now,
So
you got to get
on,
that.
You
You can order you a trophy and put that thing up there. Hey, here's what I can tell you when we're all done, because we'll all quit racing one day. Always look at my life and my career about what kind of story I'm going to have when I'm done. And when you're telling your grandkids about racing at a professional level, you'll be able to say, you know how I got that one?
I should have ran with it. I should have grabbed it like, y'all ain't getting it back unless I'm going to jail.
I told Phil Schuler today, if they handed me that trophy, I ain't saying there ain't nobody that couldn't take it from me, but they had to be flight of foot to get that thing. I'm fast when I'm being pursued. I'd be over there in the NASCAR track still running with the wallet.
None of them are going to take. Who's going to take it from you?
They did.
Of the ones. No, but if you really
if you didn't want to give it to them.
I had like a 6'6" tall sheriff that weighed about 275 over there with me.
He'd have to shoot
let
me
Anna handle that shit.
Against you or with you? Like, hey, give me
I
that.
heard when y'all were getting vocal in the staging lanes that law enforcement presence showed up. Is that true?
I'm not sure if they weren't there the whole time, but yes, they were definitely there. And I finally, he says, that's enough. And I said, man, I'm out of here, man. Y'all have a nice day.
I got the email address of the guy who makes the wallies. He'll send you one. We got it.
Man.
Yeah, I need one of them, man. And I wish, hindsight, I shouldn't have gave it back, and I should have just went to the car. But I was in disbelief. I thought we were, in reality, in my heart of heart, even my mind was so confused. I said, there's no way that everybody won't overturn this. Like, this is crazy.
You think you're being punked? Like Ashton Kutcher was going to pop out of
right? They're like, you think like behind you, like Wally Parks is going to stomp up and give you one? Be like,
no, I was scared. Like, no, like when they first said, like I told you, Mike was like, it's bad, man. It's real bad. And I'm looking at him, like looking around. There ain't no race. I'm like, what's real bad? Like, I'm like about to freak out. And then he's like,
Rashid wants to know, what do you think would have happened if that was Ricky?
Can you imagine?
Ricky would have not gave his trophy back.
Fox News would be there.
Oh my God! Can you freaking imagine?
Oh man.
I think that we're speaking to this like 3 days after, but I think when we're next year or whenever it may be, I think that good will come from it, and you'll still have that wally on your mantle and be able to say, I made a difference with it.
One thing that I can tell you that you will enjoy is the fire that it has ignited under your team now. Like, you think them boys been working? Like, they're gonna be working.
Oh
now.
Yeah. It would do me like, I would love to go crush everybody in Virginia.
Right.
Like, it would just be like an epic story if I could just freight train everybody. Like, we don't even need to cut a light because we're going to donkey stomp them. I don't know about that. Them boys, man, is tough in Q4, man. They just take them things and throw them over their shoulder. And man,
I don't know how everybody else goes up in the worst air and the worst conditions to pick up 800s, but I'm still hunting my 8. It's harder for me to get 8 than that.
Hey, them are some bad tuners, is what I'm telling you. Them is good, man, and they're brave. They're not scared. They just take, Stevie, they full time, and they just take that thing that's got like 1 degree all the way across going through the quarter mile.
I don't know if 1 degree will pick that thing up 800s at a time. I mean, I've put a lot of degrees in there, but
I think they're just brave. I think they're just brave. They just get up there, man. They say, we got to go, and they find the combination to the safe, and they barrel on down that drag strip.
So real like, what's next question here as we transition? Did the NHRA like give you, obviously they made an official statement, all the things. Did they give you like the literature of appeal process or anything like that? Has there been any next steps?
I texted Ned this afternoon. I said, please give me a call because, I need to learn the rest of this process. But,
call Richard Freeman.
What I will call Richard, actually. What I do know, or what I have heard, is I got to put $1,000 up. And my understanding is all I'm appealing is the $5,000 fine.
Correct.
Well, if I lose my 1,000 and then 5, now I'm 6,000 in the hole, and I'm still not getting a trophy. They told me the trophy is the win is not appealable. It's just fine.
That's in, and I'll put it back up. I'll put that back up because I read a lot on this today. I spent more time in the NHRA rule book today. The race director decision, it's in here somewhere. While the decisions, actions, or inactions of event officials are not appealable, so you cannot appeal that process. You can't appeal the fine. NHRA does reserve the right to reverse such decisions. So appeal. All you can do is appeal the fine for the win. Everybody's got their tagging dogs on here today.
But yet again, my theory is, and I want to learn this, what am I going and appeal? Like I'm appealing that I'm not guilty, but I'm admitting I'm guilty. I'm just saying the punishment was too much.
So here's what I think that will do. And again, I think legitimately a conversation with Richard Freeman will help iron this out. But I think fuck the $1,000, fuck whatever they say. The appeal process, all this does is continue the conversation and create whatever conversation needs to happen for change. If you let it die with it, nothing changes with it. The appeal, you may lose the $1,000, you still lose the trophy, but I think it extends the conversation of the punishment doesn't match the crime topic that you want to bring to the table, and that's where you become the martyr of it.
Mm-hmm.
So give old Big Dick Freeman a phone call. You know what I'm saying? I give you his number.
I hope this inspires some performance advantage tech.
You know what? Do you think it will?
No, I don't. Because we're smarter than the tech department when it comes to
that.
stuff.
They know that.
And they know that. They don't work on this stuff every day. This sits in my office, outside my office, and I work on it 12 hours a day. Nobody's going to be smarter on this race car than me.
No.
And I don't think that they should be. But there's been a lot of times we've had some performance stuff happen, and it wasn't this severe, is all I'm saying. If we're going to have this for this, you know how you outlaw a lot of the picking up 800s in Q4 when you're not qualified? Is make it where if you're caught blatantly cheating like that, you can never compete again. Ever. You're just out of NHRA, or you can't compete again that season. Do a little bit of that, make it severe like this right here, and you won't have to worry about it.
And it may not.
What do you think people are doing to cheat?
I don't know that, but we don't know because stuff is so advanced in how it works now. I don't think anybody. I don't know. I don't have any grounds that anybody's cheating. But without taking stuff apart, we don't know. I mean, we're running good in 19. We got our motor tore apart and our torque converter tore apart and our differential out of the car. 6 out of 10 races, they took my engine, transmission, torque converter, and rear end apart and had the supercharger rotors out of it twice. Okay? 6 out of 10 races. Everybody knew that I was not cheating. Everybody knew that we were running straight. But when all you do is look at a laptop screen, you don't get the wrenches out. No one else knows that you're not cheating. And I think as racers, we don't want to accuse anybody of cheating. We just want to know that they're not. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of times I've thought somebody had some shit and they're just smarter than me. And they just go out there and do a better job than I'm doing.
You just made a great point there. It's being smarter than, and I think that maybe this thing may not be the thing that changes it, but it takes a lot of these little dominoes to fall for the NHRA, and we've come a long way to know that the teams are smarter than them and to figure out a way to find that common ground. But unless all these things, social media, what we're doing here on the Shake and Bake show, this didn't used to happen. They used to be able to have a monopoly, and it was Hitler, end all, say all. This is what I say. The last page of the NHRA rulebook was, we can overturn anything we want because we say so. But now it's different because you have movements and you have conversations, and whether they want to or not, things like this hour and 40 minutes here, it forces them to at least pretend to look at it, right? And that's all that we can ask at the end of the day, because again, this is the playground we choose to play in, but you've got to just bring light to the situation and be able to make them work with you guys. And again, JR, you may not be the one that turns that final page, but it's going to be a portion and one of those dominoes that helps to when it does turn.
Here's what I can't tell you.
What all cars run this switch? What all cars run this switch anyhow? We know Pro Stock has it.
Every car.
What about, does Top Fuel have any or anything like that?
All the Pro Class.
So basically, I need to meet with talk to every racers committee in every Pro Stock, Top Fuel. Or does Pro only have one? Like the racer committee, like we have. Like, does Pro
He's
only
asking
have
you,
one?
Does Pro have
Courtney?
one person or Pro?
Do they have one committee for the pros, or is
It's a
it bike?
board. Yes, it's one, but it's under the one is a bunch in different levels. But yes, it's one.
Okay.
Here's what I can tell you about the NHRA Tech Department. They do care. They are interested in this, and they, I talked to Lonnie and Epping about something not related to this, and they care. Like they want to do.
They do
better. They want that. We do have more tech now. For the last 2 years up to this year, there was no tech. So we do have more tech, and I like tech. I wish we could afford to have a pro mod tech person on our payroll, and that's all they did was tech pro mods. Like that would be ideal for me. But they do care, and I don't think that they have. At least most of them don't have malicious intent.
They don't. The guys on the ground don't anyway. Yeah, we may have disrupted some shit tonight.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely getting fired.
Oh, I'm definitely getting in trouble. I'm definitely getting kicked off.
I'm in no trouble. I've handled myself very professionally, so I'm in good shape around
You did a lot better than I thought you would.
Wow, you did too.
Nah, I told a bunch of people to get fucked.
Yeah, but not as much as you normally do.
Well, that's just because I'm tired of seeing people talk about some shit they know nothing about.
They don't, and they don't know about the guys who actually wear that oval. There's people who wrote that rule book. There's the lawyers. There's all the things, but the guys that we deal with and work with, like they care. I think anyway. The Jakes and the Lonnies, I think they care.
They do. I believe that.
So I'm going to Virginia, and I'm just gapping the whole field.
Whoop
You just
ass.
gonna train wreck that ass.
I'm just,
I hope you do. Do you know that would be the coolest fucking story ever? Like, as the girl in this who's never driven, people are going to tell me I'm so stupid. I know nothing. I tell stories in drag racing. The coolest story that we can have is J.R. Gray goes out and just donkey stomps everybody next week. Sorry, Lyle.
And the name of the car is going to be, I'm going to put a name on the car. The name of the car is going to be Bypass.
Oh, fuck.
God, the next comment I was going to say is you're a pussy if you don't have some kind of giant decal on that car with some reference to what just happened.
All across
That
the
is-
windshield.
That is
Bypass.
just like the Fig Newton sticker, Bypass.
On the back windshield, bypass this, and you go out and run 572 in Q1. Oh,
Hey, I still have great contracting on the roof since it's me. I'll get the silhouette of me holding the Wally for Bristol and put Bristol winner. And it'll be as big as the roof.
Don't. Pussy if you don't.
I think we should get some made with like a tombstone beside it with like
I'll
RIP.
fucking make them. Scott Brown will make them.
I'll put one on the back of my car for sure.
Oh my God, how great.
that's
Dude, dear, I think it's really cool that you came on and spoke your piece here. I know that it was maybe a if on our end, but these are the conversations we've got to have. Quit barking.
He knows that the thriller from Manila's over here.
Well, he can sense I'm getting a little fired up, and he can sense it.
Tech dog is over here.
Well, you need a big hashtag bypass on the back windshield.
Do it.
Dude, your bypass, your hashtag for the rest of the year on social media is hashtag bypass.
Hashtag bypass.
Bypass.
That would be.
I bypassed right past the Wally.
Bypass the wall.
Bypass the whole winter circle.
But hey, forget all that. In all seriousness, like, we know y'all as human beings and your kids and your wife and everything. Like, before we knew what happened, watching those videos of everybody, Hannah was so great. She couldn't have given a fuck about anybody on the starting line. She walked out to 60 foot doing her thing. Like, that's the shit that makes this sport cool. And forget what happened after it. Like, that was really cool, and I love to see it.
Hey, your truck doesn't have passing gear anymore. It's got bypassing gear. We could have fun with this a lot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop that thing and put it in bypass.
At least he wasn't Farmer Fran tonight.
Yeah,
No.
you can't run the table like you did in Bristol and be Farmer Fran no more.
No way.
No.
No way.
You bypass Farmer Francis.
Bypass Farmer Fran.
That may be Shake and Bake's new.
Oh man.
Well, folks, we've about bypassed our time. JR, thank you for coming on. You got anything you want to say before you go? Anybody you want to cut out? Any sponsors you want to thank? You want to talk about anybody's mama?
You gonna bypass this section?
You can bypass this section of the show.
No, I just want to thank all my fans once again, for all the support all the time. I mean, in reality, everybody reaches out, tries to pick me up. I mean, I've had so many. I probably had hundreds of phone calls with concerned people and racers, and I mean, track owners. You name it, they've called me and sided with me. And I just want to thank everybody that tried to lift me up, and thank y'all for having me on. And I'll see y'all soon.
Man, thank you for coming on. We appreciate you. And really, we already know he loves Peters.
Okay. I couldn't remember if we had one.
Thank you for being as
question.
Thank you for being as open-minded as you are about this. I know it sucks, and I've never had this happen to me, and I would not handle it as good as you're handling it. Like, Steve, y'all still be hunting.
He's the guy. Fate made him the guy.
Y'all still be hunting me. I'd be in a suicide depression.
Running, Wally in hand.
Hey, the first few phone calls I had, they said, you want me to come down there and burn the tower down in Bristol? I can be there in 4 hours. I said, no, y'all hold tight.
That's a nice
come
track.
and burn nothing down. I like Bristol. It's God's country. That's God's country. We don't need to be starting no fires in God's country.
No, that shit spreads.
Well, man, thank you for coming on. We appreciate it. The good thing is we only have to wear this. We only have to talk about it for about 7 days. And we're all headed to Bristol in 7 or 8 days. I mean, to Virginia. Get to go see the Rain Man himself, Tyler Crossnow. If I was Tommy Franklin, I'd put Tyler Crossnow on an airplane and send him to Hawaii for the race. No,
maybe we'll get a little rain bypass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, maybe the rain will bypass.
See what you did there.
JR, we appreciate it, brother. We'll see you in a couple of days, and thank you, man.
See you, buddy.
All right, bye.
That was good.
How freaking great was that?
That was good. JR, good sport for that, man. Hopefully this is going to bring up some good conversation about having some common sense.
Also, him being a good sport about it, that was really cool because, like I said, a lot of people wouldn't have had that real conversation. We just spent an hour and 17 minutes talking about.
Long. Yeah, I think it's the longest we ever had a guest.
Stevie, are you flying to Virginia?
Oh yeah.
You gonna bypass me in Moore County or swing on?
I'm swinging there and scoop you up. One of the best things so as a pilot, I get excited about races where there's an airport next to the track. So in Dinwiddie, I actually smoke over the track, and the airport's less than a mile away. So yeah, I can scoop you up.
Nice.
It's about 47 minutes from KHQU to Virginia.
Listen, what's cool about that?
Brakes on the Honky Rocket this week. I landed. I was having some problems taxiing, and I had done wore the brake pads on that thing. I had to do a brake job. Took it to Midas.
Took it to Midas.
I think we need to, as we preview Bristol, mention that the first time ever that we're going to have a 2-day NHRA race. Remind everybody.
Yes. So we will not be having a 2-day Pro Mod race. Pro Mod runs 1 round on Friday, 3 on Saturday for a total of 4 races on Sunday, which is awesome, right?
It's
Is that
going to be
correct, Lyle? Isn't that the correct schedule?
That's correct, but I got a feeling we're probably going to bypass one of those.
Probably going to bypass one. But the pros, the pro classes will run on Saturday and Sunday. So if you want to see fastest door cars in the world, come out and watch Pro Mod Friday. I have a feeling that the place will be packed with fans just as much as it would be.
I hope that the NHRA, Virginia Motorsports Park, all the teams use this as it's a Saturday, Sunday show, but promote that Pro Mods are the show on Friday. So spread the word.
Yeah. Like come out there and watch us.
You might come out there and watch it. I'm come out there and drop the hammer.
I'm pretty pumped because I fly in Friday.
I will definitely buzz the track when I come in. Like when I come in Virginia, I cancel out 10 miles out, rip over the tower side, come down, and then call base final. So you'll know.
Put up Double O Shit Show's comment. No, that's funny.
Hey, just wait. As soon as we get train wreck Courtney back, she's going to get in trouble in one of these border crossings. Right now, we got politically correct, has her shit together with Courtney. But as soon as we have lose control, purple teeth on a Tuesday night, wandering around at the Waffle House at 5 a.m., Courtney back, there's going to be some.
I will say, I had a meeting, and I now know I can say this. I had a meeting with Flo today with the content team about the Shake and Bake show. I was a little concerned with sometimes of maybe going too far. Y'all think it may have to do with something. I represent Flow Drag Racing now, and I think about that. So I try and take it back a little. They told me today, fucking send it. They said they hired me as the brand I am. They watch the Shake and Bake show. They love it. They want to start syndicating the Shake and Bake show. We got to figure out the technicalities of that to replace there you go, Clay, the right off track. But they told me to send it. So every reason that I had to not be that may be gone.
So you get to bypass HR?
I'm
bypass the SEC for all the comment violations we might make if we do that.
Courtney Enders gets to be CE again, and I get to bypass it. And God bless my boss and them knowing what we do in drag racing and knowing the importance of the show. They said fucking full send.
Are you going to be touring the Grand Canyon for like a canyon, like a cow milking expose next week? Or are you going to come to the track, or what are you going to do? Are you going horseback riding?
I've missed maybe 5 races in 13 years.
I was just asking if you were coming to the track. I didn't know.
Okay, well, 6 of them have been in the past 6 months.
Well, because I got real life shit going on, and I'm making
what the fuck? Bypass the real life shit.
Going on a horseback riding convention was bad. I just asked if you were going to be doing that or going to the track.
I'm going to the track. I'm
You're going to get there Sunday afternoon.
She was shooting long range slingshots. She killed a wolverine, made her slippers out of them. She was doing real life shit. Okay, she didn't bypass the opportunity to do some stuff like that.
They did tell me. Well, we went.
Are you gonna bypass getting there on Friday or Saturday?
I'm coming Friday.
Oh,
I'm coming Friday, but we were shooting these rifles this weekend, and the little hunting or the guide guy was like, "If you see any livestock, any big animals, you can't shoot. Small animals, you shoot." My eyeballs have never scanned so hard for small animals. I didn't see one, but I did hit all the targets, even up to 1,000 yards. So fuck with your girl. I'll shoot your ass. She better than me. Yeah. Yeah. See,
I've been scared to hell out of Courtney Enders for a decade. So you're just not to the fear part yet. It gets worse.
He's getting there.
You're not to the waking up in the middle of the night and being scared she's going to machete chop you yet. That'll happen down the road.
All right.
That's because he's a sweet man. You test the limits. Spencer Hyde's a sweet man.
Oh man. I don't know why that we're not on Apple Podcasts. I think that's because Matt's on strike and I don't know how to load stuff. But there we go. I will once again try to figure out how to get that to happen. I don't know how to do it. If you guys watched the last show, Matt had something he couldn't be on here. I don't even know how to turn the intro or the outro on. So
that's it.
We'll try to figure out how to get that on there. Oh man, yeah, I do need some Caribou bourbon. I need Caribou bourbon. I need all the bourbon.
I was gonna say, let's run through the comments real quick before we get there.
I've been trying, but they're rapid fire. I bypassed a lot of them.
Courtney, you didn't bypass the wine tonight.
No, y'all gave me shit last week for being a fucking Nancy, so I came ready to play this week. And I'm also on this fitness program because getting in a bikini for the 4th of July is a little risky right now, so I gotta be on it. I even ran in the rain today.
Matt's not paid. Matt is not paid. So Matt's
volunteer.
Matt does more work for less than any human being I've ever seen.
But he may have a new business plan that Lyle and I were privy to today that we're gonna help him promote here soon.
Hell yeah!
What do you do in Canada for the 4th of July?
He's coming here. They don't do that. They call that just a long weekend. He's coming here. I'm gonna teach him how to be a fucking American. We're gonna drink beer, eat hot dogs, and be in water somewhere.
Supposed to be. I'm gonna be in Brazil drag racing cars.
Are we doing? Let's do this live because I thought about this on my run today. So no, it wouldn't be. We wouldn't have a 4th of July show. I was gonna say, do we have to adjust?
That's a bad idea.
We don't. We're off the week of the 4th of July. So just kidding. Bad thought.
Ben Burke hit me up about the Convo Pros because I am collecting.
What the hell's the Lake of the Ozarks? Jackson! Stevie, I know you love that.
Wait a second. What did you just say?
He brings Spencer to the Lake of the Ozarks. I've never been there.
You don't even know what that is?
You said what is it?
Okay.
You must not ever even watch the show Ozark.
I did watch the first 3 episodes. There was a situation in one of the first 3 episodes I didn't love. Never watched it again. Never watched it again.
I don't feel like you know what it is.
I don't. It's a place, right?
Hey, we don't have them on for beauty and brains. You got to have one of the two. All right.
One of those geographically challenged types.
At the end of the day, I'm from Texas, and that's all we learn about.
Hey, I had a guy call a male call me last week. MacFab call. He was wanting to know some things about some wheels and whatnot, and he said, "Man, I know y'all are in North Carolina. I'm down here in South Georgia. What time is it there?"
That's what I'm saying. All we know is what we know. Dumb Americans. And being the only American in the group I was in, I learned we ain't smart.
And like I wanted to be like, "Are you?" And I'm like, "Same time it is where you're at, man." Oh, all right. So it's whatever 4:07. Yeah, it sure is. It's been the same time that is there all day. You know.
Double O Shit Show's right. She ain't never been outside the Red River. It's true. It's true.
Oh man.
Listen, I said smart things tonight in the tech department. I say one thing about not knowing nothing about the Lake of the Ozarks. I'm just a dumb bitch again.
We didn't say that.
Y'all didn't, but they're gonna.
I wanted to.
You did.
Do you
I
think?
was going to say it, but I bypassed that comment.
Do you think the NHRA is going to send out an email this week about laying off the bypass comments in interviews and social media posts?
There will probably be many emails sent out by that. But
that won't be one of them because I feel like the department of the NHRA that I live on, the content, the social media side, they like these conversations, even if they don't land in the direction they want them to. They tell us to breed this kind of stuff. They do.
Still brings relevance to the sport. Still brings up conversation.
And they do.
And it's going to make it better. It's got to make it better. It should make it better.
They appreciate it. They want us to, even when the manifold stuff was going on, they were like, do not tone it down, talk about it, fight about it, be about it. So I think they're okay with it. But they may bypass me for that. So who knows?
I'll probably bypass some sponsorship applications tonight.
Grant asked, why don't we get top-end interviews with promo? I think because they're worried about what we're going to say. We're probably the most non-politically correct group. I don't know because I haven't.
I think it's just a time constraint.
Yeah, whatever. They just bypass us.
No shit, Clay.
Did y'all see Matt Smith's bike do a wheelie at 180 miles an hour?
Hey, did you see J.R. Todd's car in like Q3 or 4 and both rear tires are off the ground?
Off the ground.
Yeah. I saw some comments up there about how we managed the ski jumps with the Pro Mod. The only way we can do it is we turn the suspension loose to let it be soft, and you just got to be hauling ass and going straight. Like there's nothing you can do. We put a lot of wicker in the car to try to help it, but you just basically got to skip over it. I mean,
Clay said it was expensive.
Well, Clay, I've heard that several teams like literally plan a front half after this race in the dragsters.
That's bad.
Oh, Jackson.
Oh, that's right. I think Clay popped a couple down there.
I really thought it was going to be Clay's weekend. After he won second round, I said, "Gosh damn it, this is a Bristol Clay thing." Tony did give him a lot of good in that interview. I don't know why they extended that interview. Something was going on, but they asked him like a fifth question, and he was really good about Clay and the hometown hero and all that shit.
Nitro.
Because you
want to say to the fans.
Are we done?
Yeah.
Nitro wants to let you guys know that you should see him at the track pretty soon, and he misses you guys.
I miss Nitro. His face is getting a little gray.
That's from being related to me.
I was just going to say, dealing with your dumb ass.
You gotta hang out with me every day.
Yeah. I feel like this was a very informative and necessary show today. We had a very good conversation.
Clay said they wiped out 2 complete top to bottom.
Wow.
Also, before we go to Krista, I see you that interview with Clay and Antron together. If NHRA is listening, more of that, more of the double, letting them like interact with each other. That was one of the funniest interviews I've ever seen. I have no idea.
Clay and AD can give it to each other. So it's good.
It was good. We've got some characters in this sport, and they need to pay more attention to it. All right, are we done?
I was looking to see if there's any more comments. Oh, shop updates. Ooh. Stay tuned to the Stevie Fast YouTube channel next Tuesday at high noon for a shop update YouTube video. So we have been. I got something I got to freaking post.
I should have bypassed that one.
I should have probably not bypassed that one. Robbie Lowry says if we were racing and they did that, he'd park his tank in the winner's circle. In the water.
Oh, Barnett, I love you.
Hold on, I got to get this graphic up. Y'all talk for like seconds, and I'll get.
You might be.
I got two things I gotta say.
People have come up to Lyle and I and said, like, y'all fight, y'all this and that. I don't think y'all understand how good of friends we are. Like, Barnett, gosh damn it. That's so obvious.
I think I almost love Spencer.
Maybe
more than you.
We do, and just for we have a group text with me, Lyle, and Spencer. It's called Beards R Us. No big deal.
Yeah, we do.
Beards R Us.
It's one of the more random group chats I'm in.
So every other Tuesday when we're not shaking baking, we'll have a YouTube video for you guys. So this week's, I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all, it's going to be a shop update video. It's going to be good. Also, I was told by Don and Katie to post this. I haven't even read it. Y'all be the first one to see it. We've got a special KTR apparel sale, 40% off at steviefast.com. It looks like they're trying to blow out the last bit of inventory. So whatever we have before the next drop, right now that's left in stock is 40% off. I have no idea how.
Bypass this sale.
Bypass this sale. And see.
You made me do my real laugh. Fuck you.
They're definitely having anything. Allow your hair follicles bypass your eyebrows. Look at that.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
I should have bypassed the old breathing fire trick. Didn't work out too well. I did bypass the opportunity to get my eyebrows transplanted.
Hey, you and Erica's little thing, she bypassed the old straight eyes.
Yeah, she bypassed. She actually didn't bypass the cross eyes. She's got a lazy one. She's got one coon hunting and one looking at the ground.
And if anyone else except Lyle Barnett says that, I will physically, personally whoop your ass.
Like stab you in your genitalia.
That's only for Lyle Barnett. Anyway, we're really taking a turn here. We should really cue the
things are getting out of hand. All right. Well, if you guys don't have anything else, thank you guys for watching episode 37 of the Shake and Bake Show. Matt, I don't know if you're there to roll the.
Make sure you don't bypass number 38.
Yeah, don't bypass 38.
Wait, I think it might be good if we can get what we're cooking. It may hang with Scotty Cannon.
You think?
We'll say.
Maybe.
You think?
Maybe.
The next one, you guys are not gonna. We got some smoky cooking going on. If we get it, it's gonna be awesome.
This close.
I don't know how to turn on this outro. I can do the intro.
No, Matt,
okay,
hit us with the outro.
There's Matt to save us.
I get it.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in 2 weeks.